Good evening and welcome to DC Network. I am Ting Tim Hokip bringing you today's news. Today's top headlines include GMFDI experiences God's visit once again. Attendance increases each day. President Draupadi Murmu addresses joint sitting of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in Parliament. 8 died of lightning strikes in 24 hours in Bihar. Rupees 4 lakh ex gratia announced. News in details. Gospel Ministry for Disabilities India (GMFDI) experiences the deliverance of another message from God yesterday, the 26th of June 2024, at 7 p.m. sharp and lasted for around 3 hours. The believers had gathered there by 4 p.m. already, where they sing and pray and wait for the intercession hour with God. The believers said that God spoke to them here with His voice. The believers have experienced this type of unearthly activities many times, even before the start of the conflict, where they were warned of the upcoming Manipur violence and many other things as well. In this very place, the workers used to cast out evil spirit who possess human with the aim to take their life.
Kamansa kalhatsate ni isi atasa kamansa pa amhoji ngajong tingai lowa mihingajong tingai lowa kaya kingai ta sanna kingai jong na tam tawin ezi chun na chunguwa kalungat heye.
The workers, Evangelist Chin Kulam and Evangelist Hang Lin Say and Robert performs miraculous works in the name of Jesus, where they heal the sick and possessed and also give deliverance to those who want to be born again. Healing prayers were met by the evangelists for the sick and needy that comes to them, so that they can pray for them and cure their physical and spiritual illness. Mention may be met that this type of event occurred since last year. It may be hard to believe, but the Manipur conflict had already been predicted here a week before it started. So many unearthly events are witnessed by the people who went here to pray and worship. At the beginning, there was just few hundreds of believers, but the number of believers keep on increasing every day. Yesterday, the event was attended by around 5,000 and more believers who come to listen to the message of God delivers. The message also says that the believers have overcome 2 steps out of the 3 steps He had arranged for them to overcome. After all the 3 steps are crossed or overcome by the believers, God will bless and show His mercy and do a miraculous work upon His people. You know that I am using 2 of my servants, including a body of my child, to proclaim my words to you. Not believing on them but on me are blessed ones, and I am happy and pleased to all of you, my children.
Chipatin namde hante sunga galbol mi te su aham sitamave atsunguva akhangovin azuiding athi ingim ta thei lo deu athi ingim thei ta lo deu go ahana tuyalit jong le apel do thei lo deu gilpi hat ho jong apel do thei ta lo deu hui pi hat na ko na jong pel do thei ta lo ding akhangowa azui dan deu hechi ham sit na chu ki bol do lo ta ve o he ada he ve.
People who do not get seat inside occupied the place outside, sitting on the highway and completely stopping traffic in the area. The attendees also occupied the cemetery area, which is situated opposite to GMFDI, where they sat on tombstone and even on the roof of the waiting shed there. A project was fixed outside and the event occurring inside was displayed for those who were sitting outside. The believers unceasingly prayed for the Kuki nation every day since the beginning of the conflict. How cursed and troubled are those who wage war against my people. Every curse and problems had been turned to them. They are now filled with filth like debris of destruction, rain, flood, and other forms of destruction that could not be cleansed forever.
Tuần apathin teo zong gola dai ho tu tang thei ding pathin zong nei povem hui la go ho zong thanei ta sol mang thei ding apathin ho ya om hetam hingjing hat sunung pathin maya koi ma ding ngam lo he bove.
Not only people within Churachandpur attended the ceremony, but also people from far-off places have come to witness the proclamation. The premises was overcrowded, and as such, people sit on road and anywhere they find suitable, with a huge projector in the middle of the road. Now that they do not have gods who could stop rain, flood, and their miseries, these are all done by me, the living and the greatest God of all. No one dares to stand before me and against me.
Keima hingjing hat sunung na pathin vin nagam pumpi chung wa vai pupa jing jong hichigal hi asu thip thei didan asu thip didan he thei lawa ka koya nang ho koi na hi wa gam pumpi vai pupa jing jong hichigal hi su thip thei lawa ke man ka koi he bove na ho koi na hi wa ma su thip thei ding nagam pumpiu vai pupa jing jong hichigal hi su thip thei lawa thu tan tha thei lawa.
I have met the person who calls himself the ruler of the land, unable to stop the wars against you, my chosen nation. Is there anyone amongst you who can stop this war? It is I, and only I, who can stop this war against you. On the other hand, the incident at GMFDI had become a topic of controversy since there are believers and non-believers. Some proclaim it to be the work of the devil, while the others proclaim it to be the work of the living God. And those who have come to the place have directly or indirectly benefited physically or spiritually. Regarding the press statement issued by the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, to hold talks with various stakeholders to ensure peace and stability in the region, the Kuki in Manipur, through this release, intimated its firm resolve that the Kuki-Zo community will not hold any talk with the state government under Chief Minister N. Biren Singh. In its press release, the Kuki in Manipur said it is hardly surprising that the ongoing crisis in Manipur, the pre-planned ethnic cleaning against the Kuki-Zo community, is the ultimate result of the despotic and chauvinistic government under N. Biren Singh. In fact, the operation and alienation against the Kukis had gained unnatural momentum since N. Biren Singh formed his ministry in 2017. Inevitably, the Kuki-Zo community have met its resolution that a total separation with the Meiteis is the only solution for lasting peace and harmony in the region, and that the Kuki-Zo community will not settle for anything less than what is duly granted in our constitution, the provision for creation of a separate administration. The Kuki in Manipur will always stand for the rights and privileges and the territorial integrity of the Kuki-Zo community. BJP's Manipur President A. Sarda Devi met Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi on Thursday and held an extensive discussion on the current situation in the ethnic strife-hit state. Sarda Devi said that she urged for immediate attention to bring permanent solution and tranquility to the state, met Honorable Prime Minister Mananiya Shri Amit Shah Ji for an extensive discussion on the current situation in Manipur, conveyed the people's aspiration and urged immediate attention to bring permanent solution and tranquility to the state, while appreciating the ongoing efforts she posted on X. Additionally, highlighted the need for resettling IDPs, internally displaced persons, and providing maximum support for smooth rehabilitation, she added. Sarda Devi said Shah assured her that the center was aware of the delicate situation on the ground and committed to fulfilling the people's aspirations. More than 200 people have been killed and thousands rendered homeless in the ethnic violence between Hill-based Kuki-Zo people and Imphal Valley-based Meitei since May last year. President Draupadi Murmu today said that Jammu and Kashmir has given a befitting reply to India's enemies as the Union Territory registered record voter turnout in the recently concluded Lok Sabha polls. She said that decades-long records of voting have been broken in Jammu and Kashmir. In her address to the joint sitting of the parliament, the president said that for the past 4 decades, Kashmir witnessed low voting amid shutdowns and strikes, and country's enemies propagated it as the opinion of Kashmir on international forums. But this time, Kashmir Valley has given a befitting reply to all such forces. She said a stable government with a complete majority has been formed in the country after 6 decades, and people are aware that only this government can fulfill their aspirations. The president said the new government is going to present its first general budget in the coming parliament session, which will be an effective document of its far-reaching policies, and futuristic vision and reforms will be fast-tracked. In her address, the president said that in 10 years, the country has risen from the 11th position to become the 5th largest economy. She said that India achieved this feat despite a pandemic and conflicts in different parts of the world. She also said that her government is working to make India the 3rd largest economy in the world. She highlighted that the government's goal is to ensure that no one remains untouched by its schemes, and it has built 3.8 lakh kilometers rural roads under PM Gramin Sadak Yojana to connect villages. Highlighting the initiatives taken by the government for the Northeast region, the president observed that the center is working for lasting peace in the region, and several problems related to the area have been addressed in the last 10 years. President Murmu added that phase-wise repealing of AFSPA is underway in areas with unrest after making rapid progress in the region. Touching upon paper leaks, the president said the government is committed to punish the guilty and probe the matter. She added that the government has also passed a law to check the incident of irregularities in the examinations. Following the president's address, a motion of thanks will be moved in both houses on parliament, which will be discussed by the members. The first session of the 18th Lok Sabha began on Monday, and the Rajya Sabha session will start from today. At least 8 people were killed after being struck by lightning in 6 districts of Bihar, an official said today, June 26. The deaths were reported in the last 24 hours from Bhagalpur, Mangar, Jamui, East Champaran, West Champaran, and Araira districts, the official said. Bihar's Chief Minister Nitish Kumar on Wednesday expressed grief over the death of 8 people in lightning strike in the last 24 hours in the state. According to the Chief Minister's office, an ex gratia of Rs 4 lakh has also been announced for the next of kin of its deceased. According to the CMO statement, Bhagalpur and Mangar districts have reported 2 deaths each, followed by 1 death each in Jamui, East Champaran, West Champaran, and Araira districts. In the statement, the CM also appealed to the people to take precautions during inclement weather and follow the directions issued by the Disaster Management Department. Stay at home and stay safe in bad weather, he said. As per the Met Department, fairly widespread to widespread light to moderate rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms, lightning and gusty winds 30 to 40 km per hour is very likely over East Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Gangetic West Bengal during the next 5 days. 3 terrorists suspected to be affiliated with the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed (JEM) outfit were killed in a gunfight that lasted for more than 6 hours in a forest area in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda district on Wednesday, police officials said. A policeman was also injured in the gunfight that broke out in Bajat village in the Gando area around 9:50 a.m. amid an intensified cordon and search operation launched by the police, Armed and Central Reserve Police Force (CRPF), following twin terrorist attacks in the Hill District on June 11 and 12, the official added. 6 security personnel were injured when terrorists attacked a joint checkpost at Chatar-Gala on June 11, while a policeman was hurt in a gunfight with terrorists as the quota topped in Gandon next day. After the twin attacks, the security forces intensified their anti-terrorist operations and announced a cash reward of Rs 5 lakh each on information about 4 Pakistani terrorists believed to have infiltrated into the district. During an operation in a village in Sino Panchayat, the forces came under heavy fire from the terrorists hiding in a mud house on a slope, the official said, adding that one ultra was killed in the retaliatory fire after he came out and started firing on the search parties. Heavy gunfire and explosions rattled the village as 2 more terrorists were eliminated by the security forces as the day progressed, the official said, adding that a huge quantity of arms and ammunition, including 2 M4 carbines and an AK series assault rifle, were seized from the possession of the slain terrorists. The identity and group of affiliation of the slain ultras could not be ascertained immediately, they said. However, the officials added that, according to a preliminary investigation, the terrorists believed to have recently infiltrated from across the borders are JEM members and likely from Pakistan. An army helicopter was also seen hovering around the area of surveillance during the encounter, the official said. They say the encounter ended around 4 p.m., but a thorough search operation is still continuing to ensure that no other terrorists are there in the area. Additional Director General Police Jammu Zone Anand Jain, along with Deputy Inspector General Police Doda Kiswar Ramban Range, Sridhar Patil, and Senior Superintendent of Police Doda Javed Iqbal rushed to the encounter site to supervise the operation. This was the second such encounter in the Jammu region this month. On June 11 and 12, 2 Pakistani terrorists and a CRPF Jawan were killed in a 15-hour-long operation in the Hiranagar sector of Kathua district. Jammu has witnessed a spurt in terror activities attributed by authorities to an attempt by Pakistani handlers to revive terrorism in the region and disturb the peaceful atmosphere. On June 9, terrorists struck a bus carrying pilgrims returning from the Sif Khori temple in Riasi district, killing 9 people, including the driver and the conductor of the vehicle, and injuring 41. The officials said internet mobile services in Gando and adjoining areas have been suspended as a precautionary measure. Meanwhile, a Chinese hand grenade was found in Pin village in the Chingus areas of Rajouri district, they said. The officials say the grenade was found late on Tuesday evening by a patrolling party of security forces. India received $120 billion in remittances in 2023, which is almost twice as $66 billion received by Mexico during the same period, the World Bank said in a report released on Wednesday. China, $50 billion, the Philippines, $39 billion, and Pakistan, $27 billion, figure in top 5 countries list of remittances receipts as released by the World Bank, according to which remittances in 2023, after a period of strong growth during 2021-2022, officially recorded remittance flows to low and middle income countries, LMICs, moderated in 2023, reaching an estimated $656 billion. Growing at 7.5%, remittances flow to India touched $120 billion in 2023, reflecting the benefits of a deceleration in inflation and strong labor markets in the United States, the largest destination for India's skilled migrants and other OECD destinations, as well as positive demand for skilled and less skilled workers in the GCC countries, which together are the second largest destination for Indian migrants, the World Bank said. While the same external demand conditions could have favored remittance flows to Pakistan, weak internal conditions due to a balance of payments crisis and economic difficulties triggered remittance to plummet 12% of $27 billion in 2023 compared to more than $30 billion in 2022, it said. According to the World Bank, remittance flow to India from the United Arab Emirates, which account for 18% and are the second largest sources of India's remittance after the United States, benefited from the February 2023 agreement. The latter established a framework to promote the use of local currencies for cross-border transactions and cooperation for interlinking payment and messaging systems between India and the United Arab Emirates. The use of dirhams and rupees in cross-border transactions is instrumental in channeling more remittances through formal channels. In addition to the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar account for 11% of India's total remittance, it said. The World Bank said remittance to India are forecast to grow at 3.7% to $124 billion in 2024 and at 4% to reach $129 billion in 2025. India's efforts to link its unified payments interface with source countries such as the United Arab Emirates and Singapore are expected to reduce costs and speed up remittances, it said. The Department of Homeland Security has identified over 400 immigrants from Central Asia and elsewhere who crossed into the U.S. in the past 3 years as subject of concern because they were brought by an ISIS-affiliated human smuggling network, 3 U.S. officials tell NBC News. While over 150 of them have been arrested, the whereabouts of over 50 remain unknown, the officials said, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement is looking to arrest them on immigration charges when they are located. One of the U.S. officials said people affiliated with ISIS are operating as human smugglers in Central Asia and helping people there leave their countries and travel to the West, where they are then smuggled into the U.S. It is not known whether the human smuggling activity directly funds ISIS activity or whether ISIS members are making personal money through human smuggling on the side, the U.S. official said. The official added that the U.S. has no indication that the more than 400 migrants brought to the U.S. by the network have plans to carry out terrorism in the U.S., but immigration agents are looking to arrest them out of an abundance of caution. In this case, it was the information that suggested a potential tie to ISIS because of some of the individuals involved in smuggling migrants to the border that led us to want to take extra care, said a senior Biden administration official, and out of an abundance of caution make sure that we exercise our authority in the most expansive and appropriate way to mitigate risks before this potential connection being met. The official added that since ICE began arresting migrants brought to the U.S. by the ISIS link group several months ago, no information has emerged tying them to a threat to the U.S. homeland. Many of the more than 400 migrants crossed the southern border and were released into the U.S. by Customs and Border Protection because they were not on the government's terrorism watch list, according to the 3 officials, and the agency did not have information regarding concerns at the time. But recent terrorist attacks in Russia have fueled heightened concern about ISIS and its offshoot, ISIS-K. In recent months, DHS has been looking more closely at migrants from Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Moldova, Kyrgyzstan, Georgia, and Russia, countries where ISIS-K has been active. The fact that the whereabouts were unknown is clearly alarming, said former FBI Counterterrorism Section Chief Christopher O'Leary, who now works at the security consulting firm, the Soufan Group. O'Leary said ICE is likely looking to make these arrests to get people who may pose a threat to national security into custody, even when there is no evidence they are plotting an attack. I believe the U.S. is scrambling to locate these individuals, and using the immigration charges is not uncommon, O'Leary said. They are in violation of that law, and if you need to take somebody off the street, that's a good approach to do it. In a significant move, the International Criminal Court on Tuesday issued arrest warrants for Russia's former defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, and its military chief of the staff, General Valery Gerasimov, of war crimes and crimes against humanity for attacking civilian targets in Ukraine. This comes at a time of intense battle between Moscow and Kyiv in recent days that have left scores of people dead. In an official statement, the court noted that there are reasonable grounds to believe that the two officials are involved in the war crime of directing attacks at civilian objects and causing excessive harm to civilians. They also bear responsibility for missile strikes carried out by the Russian armed forces against the Ukraine electric infrastructure from at least October 10, 2022 until at least March 9, 2023. The pre-trial chamber too observed that one of the core objectives of international humanitarian law is the protection of civilians in armed conflicts. Therefore, the chamber, when assessing criminal responsibility for the alleged perpetration of war crimes during the conduct of hostilities, must consider whether the alleged conduct abided by the principles of distinction, which prohibits the use of armed forces against civilians and other protected persons, it further said. Under the leadership of Shoigu and Gerasimov, the Russian military has launched waves of missile and drone strikes on Ukraine that have killed thousands and damaged the country's energy system and other vital infrastructure. Moscow has insisted that it only has targeted military facilities, despite daily casualties in civilian areas. Russia, which like Ukraine is not a member of the ICC, has repeatedly said Ukraine's energy infrastructure is a legitimate military target and denies targeting civilians or civilian infrastructure. However, the court has no means to enforce an arrest, and many of its previous rulings have been ignored in the past as it does not have a force of its own. Russia isn't a member of the Global Court, doesn't recognize its jurisdiction, and refuses to hand over suspects. In March last year, the International Court issued arrest warrants against Russian President Vladimir Putin for alleged war crimes committed by Russian forces in Ukraine, including abduction of children. Putin was charged along with Maria Alexeyevna Lvova-Belova, the Russian Commissioner for Children's Rights. Russia rejected the allegations and imposed sanctions on ICC prosecutor Karim Khan and British ministers in August last year in a tit-for-tat move. Russia began criminal proceedings against Khan and the three ICC judges in March on the grounds that they have committed signs of crimes in accordance with Russian law. This includes deliberately unlawful detention in the cages of the judges and knowing accusing an innocent person of a crime in Khan's case. Putin replaced Shoigu as defense minister in a cabinet shakeup in May as he began his fifth term as president. Shoigu, 69, has been widely seen as a key figure in Putin's decision to invade Ukraine on February 24, 2022. Shoigu had personal ties with Putin, got a soft landing with the high-profile post of Secretary of Russian Security Council. Local officials and family members said on Israeli airstrike Tuesday in northern Gaza killed 10 relatives of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh, who is based in Qatar. The strike hit a house in the Sati refugee camp west of Gaza City. Israeli strikes earlier in the war killed 3 of Haniyeh's sons. Israel's military said its forces carried out airstrikes targeting buildings in Sati and another area in northern Gaza that it said were being used by Hamas militants who were involved in the October 7 attack on Israel. The latest fighting came as Israel's Supreme Court ruled that the military must draft ultra-Orthodox Jewish seminary students. The anonymous decision Tuesday could put additional pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government, which relies on 2 ultra-Orthodox parties in its coalition. The war in Gaza and Israel's clashes with Hezbollah militants along the border with Lebanon have made the issue even more prominent, as people question the long-standing exemptions that allow the seminary students to avoid the military service required of most Israeli men and women. In Washington, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin warned his Israeli counterpart Yoav Gallant that a heightened conflict between Israel and Hezbollah could touch off a regional war and urge a diplomatic solution. Even as the Israel-Hamas conflict has extended into a 9 months of fighting, Israel forces have exchanged fire with Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah on a nearly daily basis. Another war between Israel and Hezbollah could easily become a regional war with terrible consequences for the Middle East, Austin said. Diplomacy is by far the best way to prevent more escalation, Gallant, speaking before talks with Austin, said. We are working closely together to achieve an agreement, but we must also discuss readiness on every possible scenario. Israel's army stated last week that it has planned to approve the validated for fighting Hezbollah. Secretary of State Antony Blinken also urged Israel to avoid escalation in Lebanon when he met with Gallant on Monday. Israel and Hezbollah last fought a full-scale war in 2006 when a cross-border Hezbollah attack sparked 34 days of fighting that took a heavy toll on Lebanon, especially the country's southern region. The Israeli defense leader also met with CIA Chief Bill Burns, the key U.S. official in negotiations to free hostages held by Hamas, which launched the unprecedented attack on Israel in October that triggered Israel's counter-offensive in Gaza. Netanyahu has said Israeli forces are winding up the most intensive part of the Gaza war and will redeploy to the northern border, although he has cast the move as defensive. Blinken also pressed Gallant to take more steps to protect aid workers in Gaza. Earlier Monday, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell told reporters in Luxembourg that the risk of the Gaza war spilling over into Lebanon is growing bigger every day. I think that, unhappily, we are on the eve of the war expanding, Borrell said. He also said a ceasefire in Gaza is desperately needed to facilitate the flow of humanitarian aid, saying delivery of humanitarian assistance inside Gaza has become impossible. That is all for today's news, and have a pleasant evening ahead.